But as you may have heard, I'm also one of your all-time most loyal customers. I really am. Well, I think that's good. I'm pretty sure that's good. While other politicians fly around on campaign planes stocked with expensive catering, on Trump Force One, prior to ascending to Air Force One, which is quite a nice plane also, we served only McDonald's almost every time. On occasion, we couldn't find one, which is pretty hard to believe. We'd go another route, but we really did. You fed us very well, and I even got Bobby Kennedy to eat a Big Mac. And he told me he loved it. I'm thrilled to be here with the men and the women who are really the heart and soul of one of the greatest, most admired, and most successful companies in the history of the world, frankly. The one and only McDonald's. I've gone there a couple of times. And I'm honored to stand before you as the very first former McDonald's fry cook ever to become President of the United States. I actually was there for about 30 minutes, and that was 30 minutes longer than Kamala was there, right? Despite her job at McDonald's, that didn't work out too well. And the person at McDonald's that informed us off the record that she never worked there, whoever you are, we appreciate that. That was very nice.
Donald Trump has said he will be pursuing legal action against the BBC after they deceptively edited his January 6th speech. Trump has already secured multiple 8-figure settlements over the past year from media outlets, from ABC, American ABC and CBS, as well as major social media platforms, Josh, X, Meta, which has Facebook and Instagram, and also YouTube. How do you see this latest clash progressing? I think the UK's defamation laws are far harsher than what's in place in the US. Could he be looking at another massive payout here?
Yeah, you took the words out of my mouth. In the UK, defamation law is extremely strict. Actually, Rita, I know this very much firsthand because during some of the riots in the UK just over a year ago, there was a horrific murder of young English children at a dance studio from a Rwandan, if memory serves there, and there were all these riots, then counter riots there. And I made a somewhat anodyne tweet about two-tier Keir Starmer, and a friend of mine who is a British lawyer over in London messaged me on WhatsApp, and he said, Josh, you probably should take that tweet down. And I was like, what are you talking about? I mean, like, this is America. I have free speech. And he was like, actually, under British law, that's probably defamatory. So, you know, for the record, I did not delete the tweet. I did not capitulate to Britain's utterly Orwellian defamation system. But to your point, yeah, defamation is a lot easier in the UK, certainly than in the United States, where we have a slightly higher threshold, especially for so-called public figures. So potentially the BBC could be in a world of hurt here. Now, having said that, there are any number of left-wing judges in the British judiciary, many of whom are probably deeply antagonistic to Donald Trump. Probably many of them, frankly, just utterly hate the guy. It's not that dissimilar, frankly, from a lot of our own American judges who invariably suffer in these lower court random judgeships in Hawaii and New Hampshire and whatnot there. They oftentimes suffer from Trump derangement syndrome. I presume it's probably the same across the pond over in the UK as well. So I would caution against necessarily saying that this is a slam dunk case, but But given Donald Trump's track record in successfully suing for defamation and various other media outlets, as you correctly note, and given the fact that defamation law is such a lower bar when it comes to being the plaintiff in British law, I don't know, Rita. I happen to like his chances. I definitely would not want to be in the BBC's legal position right now. That's for sure.
Well, he's already secured these 5 8-figure settlements. And are the proceeds of those settlements going towards the ballroom? Is that accurate? Because this BBC one could pay for the whole thing, possibly.
Yeah, so the judgments go to different things. So one of them, I think, was the ABC settlement. Actually, is going to help construct the Trump Presidential Library. Actually, after Donald Trump's presidency, which is it's just so thoroughly delectable, isn't it? That ABC, which did about as much as any other network to try to throw the 2024 election to Kamala Harris with their horrific debate performances and whatnot. Now they're going to subsidize the Trump Presidential Library. So on the one hand, it was that. I do think I heard that one of these judgments might be subsidizing the People's Ballroom there in the East Wing of the White House there, but it depends on the judgment. But it's frankly, from an American taxpayer perspective, Rita, I just love it because these media outlets are frankly the enemy of the people, and they should be made to pay as such.
I think there's not much sympathy for these media outlets at all, or the social media outlets. Now, I want to ask about this tariff revenue bonus that President Trump is committed to sending to Americans.
When I pay people $2,000 each for low and moderate income and middle income people, everybody but the rich get this. That's not made up, that's real money. That comes from other countries.
Josh, a $2,000 dividend check to be distributed from tariff revenue sometime next year, we're told, perhaps before the midterms. Do you see this happening? Because there's a lot of doubts about whether these $2,000 checks can be sent.
If I had to guess, I would guess probably not, to be honest with you. This would probably require an act of Congress. I think this would be very legally dicey to try to do via executive order. I think the even more compelling reason why I would throw some skepticism as to whether or not this will happen is because based on what the American people tell pollsters, including those off-year elections 2 weeks ago in New York City, New Jersey, Virginia, Rita, the issues that they still care most about pertain to inflation, cost of living, affordability, things like that. And if there's one thing that we know from Joe Biden's spending bonanza and the various checks in the mail during COVID, it's that these things over the course of a year or 2, 3 years at the most can tend to exacerbate inflationary fears. And if this administration is sympathetic to listening to the American people when it comes to their cost of living concerns this is the kind of thing that might sound good in theory. I mean, who doesn't want to receive a $2,000 check in the mail? I mean, heck, sign me up. That sounds great. But unfortunately, there is a downside to that when you look at it from a more macro extrapolated perspective there, and that is potentially exacerbating inflation. So for all these reasons, I am skeptical. But, this is Donald Trump's populist mentality, right? I mean, he sees revenue coming in for the tariffs. He wants to share the wealth with the people. These are my big, beautiful tariffs there. I want to see the people who are proud of this tariffs, but proud of rebuilding industry, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I totally understand where he's coming from his mentality there. But from both a separation of powers perspective, I don't think Congress would get behind it. And then also on the inflation fears, I'm a little skeptical as well.
Well, I'm not so sure about that. I'm not just doubting your judgment that perhaps this can't be done and the process it has to go through, but I reckon people would be absolutely overjoyed about getting a $2,000 check, and they're not going to worry too much about how inflationary it may be down the track. I think you are underestimating how much people love free things, and $2,000, and particularly because it's coming essentially from foreign nations. If it is actually coming from tariff revenue, the symbolism there, I think, is pretty good.